on the morning after with Nick and Big J.
All right, let's do some important stuff, kids. And, of course, Big J, everybody's talking about your Boise State Broncos over the weekend.
Come on.
After you got yourself a nice selection Sunday kind of thing, I think really all the drama was out after the victory on Friday. Ashton Genty ran for 209 yards and a touchdown, and Boise State beat UNLV 21-7 on Friday night for its second straight Mountain West title. Of course, Genty had a pretty nice game, 75-yard touchdown run. His fifth touchdown is 70 yards or more. That ties LaDainian Tomlinson's record for most 70-yard plus touchdowns in a season. He also surpassed Marcus Allen, moving into fourth place of the FBS rushing list. Needs 132 yards to pass Barry Sanders of Oklahoma State for the most rushing yards in a season. Then they knew they were getting the first round bye. They just weren't sure if they were going to end in 4 or 3 for the seeding that came out on Selection Sunday yesterday. But after all the conference championships shook out over the weekend, it was Boise State getting the number 3 seed. And they're going to take on the winner of the Penn State and SMU game. And guess where they're going to be playing, Big J? Our own home away from home. The old Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, almost 20 years.
Yeah. December 31st is when the Broncos will next play, so there's a lot of off time between now and the Broncos' next game.
What do you think? Is that good or bad?
I think it's terrible. I hate how much time is in between. I've always said it, between the end of the actual season and when the bowl games are played, any kind of momentum is sucked out of the football team. I think it's bad for everybody, but the real bad thing is, when it's a different when you have a week off than when you have 3 weeks off. And that's what the Broncos are going to be going up against a team that played a couple of days before.
I think, though, also, this is beneficial in a couple of the reasons is getting healthy.
Sure.
So that's huge. And then also being able to game plan for both of those teams and having extra time to do that, I think is huge. It was one of the things that was really a huge benefit for Coach Pete and the way his staff approached that. So we'll see if Danielson can do the same thing, but they got a big task ahead of them.
December 31st is when that game is going to be played at the Fiesta Bowl. Of course, Boise State is officially 3 for 3 in trips down to Arizona in the Fiesta Bowl, so that bodes well for the Broncos as well. But I'll be honest, Big J, nobody's given the Broncos much of a chance.
Why would they? They never do.
They're saying that whoever they play against, the Broncos will probably be touchdown underdogs.
They're blindsided by the fact that the number 1 team almost lost already to the Broncos.
Yeah, I think
sure,
that's part
it's
of
the
it.
first couple weeks of the season. It doesn't matter. They have a strong run game, and that can travel anywhere.
I think that's part of it. I think certainly it's the conference that the Broncos find themselves in. I think it's also the bias for bigger colleges against the Broncos.
Underestimate the Broncos. They worked great for Oklahoma back in the day.
When it comes down to the selection committee, the Broncos were actually the 9th-ranked team in the 12 teams that were selected. They get the 3rd seed because they're a conference champion and have a really good record. Arizona State, the last in technically, although SMU was the last open bid to get in. Arizona State will be the 4th seed, by the way. They'll play in the Peach Bowl on New Year's Day as well. So it's all set up. It's ready to go. Over the next month, college football will have a lot of ups and downs. I guess, Crimea River, Alabama fans are a little upset, but they're a 9-3 football team.
Yeah, win your games.
I think it's better that an 11-2 SMU team got in than that. But there are also, like, South Carolina's fairly upset that teams like Indiana got in. Indiana hasn't beaten a ranked team the entire season. Yes, they're 11-1, but the one team that they played that was ranked, they got absolutely housed on. Yeah. And it wasn't even close.
Yeah, the rules set up for this, obviously, that's making a lot of people mad that Boise State is a number 3 seed and shouldn't be there.
Sure.
But that's the way the rules are set up. So for once, it benefits us, where that wouldn't be the case if it was left up to people deciding something.
And it's the first season. Who knows how this is going to shake out in the future? But this is the first go of it, and I think it's nice to see the Broncos in the mix. I think it'll be nice to see a Group of 5 team in the mix. You know what I mean? And so I think it's going to be good.
Crazy fantasizing here. Let's say, for example, the craziest thing happens, Nick, and the Boise State Broncos win this whole thing. That's when they destroy the college football playoff, because they're like, we can't have this.
I believe that you will have. Let's listen. I don't want to talk about it because it's going to jinx it, but I guarantee you, all of the big college football honks and fans would be
Would
very
disregard
upset.
it completely.
Yes. They'll go, listen, it was said Boise State has the easiest path to go or whatever, when in reality, there's a lot of people that think Penn State has the easiest path to get to the championship. But that will be a lot of the complaining. But listen, one game at a time, buddy. You got to win 3 to win the national championship. Some teams have to win 4. So there's a lot of stuff that has to happen before this all shakes out. But happy to see them in the mix, and it was a pretty good sports weekend because of that. So congratulations to the Boise State Broncos. Well earned, and excited to see how it's going to go.
When is the Heisman Trophy ceremony thing going down?
I'm pretty sure it's Saturday.
This Saturday?
Yes.
So Ashton Genty's headed off to New York.
It's either this Saturday or next Saturday. It's definitely before the next set of games. I know that.
The thing we don't talk about is the fact that, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 games that he was out at halftime.
Yeah.
And then they had 2 buys as well this year. So there's a lot of opportunities he didn't get to have with the ball because of that his numbers would have been much more.
And I didn't go back and look at Barry Sanders. Like, I don't know how many of those games he might have finished or didn't finish either during that historic run. So it could be something that is comparable, to be fair. But yeah, that record could be in the dust if he played past halftime.
Yeah, he could be over 3,000 yards.
Yeah, he's a good football player, Big J. This is just it. Moana 2 is the number 1 movie at the box office, another $52 million. That's pretty impressive. It also made the basically passes the domestic total of $300 million. That's just here, almost $600 million worldwide. And to think, Big J, this was supposed to be a TV series that they were going to have directly to Disney Plus, and they're like, let's set it out and see how it does. And
it saved their day. It saved their year, probably. It
goes on, and they edited it together to make it a movie, and it goes on to make $600 million in only 2 weeks.
Disney, they've got $1 billion sitting at the box office right now.
Yeah, between Wicked as well, another $34.9 million. Gladiator 2, number 3. Pushpa the Rule Part 2 is the number 4 movie at the box office. And Red One, that's a Bollywood movie, Big J. But Red One ended up being number 5. It made $7 million in the box office. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your first round of important stuff. It is the X-Rocks.
Here's traffic.
Disgusting. Those people are correct. And then there are people that actually truly do love candy corn, despite the monstrosity that it is. And they enjoy it. And fine, to each their own, correct, Big J?
I guess.
But I would say, and maybe I'm wrong, but I would say eggnog for the holiday season falls in that category as well. Yeah. Either you absolutely love it and look forward to it and think it's delicious, or you think it's an abomination that should not be allowed at any particular point. And why would people want to drink egg milk, essentially? But there are people that do. Now, there's an alcohol factor mixed into it, which is to say that some people enjoy eggnog only if it's spiked with some sort of whiskey or bourbon to help, I guess, I would say stomach it, or at least give you some sort of end game where it becomes enjoyable towards the end. But eggnog is one of those things that's really, really polarizing. And there's a new study out that shows exactly how polarizing it is. 23% of people say they absolutely love it and cannot wait for eggnog. 23% say that, you know what, it's okay and I will drink it when I can. And then about 27% of people absolutely hate it. 16% dislike it. And then there's a bunch of people that are in the middle that are like, whatever, man, it's eggnog. What are you asking me eggnog questions for? And so I asked you, Big J, what are your thoughts about eggnog in the holiday season?
I ruined my eggnogness by taking part in an eggnog drinking contest that included vodka.
Oh, God.
Remember, I've told you this story like 8 times.
I think
and
so.
every year you forget about it.
I know. I don't like to think about you drinking.
And I got real sick and threw up all over the place a lot because people were chanting my name. And whenever that happens, all bets go out the door and you get into it. I mean, that's what happens at a party. You know?
Start showing up for company, and next thing you know, you're making mistakes, and it turns sour. Yes, I understand. This is at a private party where you had eggnog?
Yeah.
How many
Pete
of you
Sheeky.
Oh, man. How many of you were in the contest?
Like 5 or 6 of us, I think.
Okay. And the idea was to drink as much eggnog as you possibly could?
Yeah.
So it was
I don't think, maybe it wasn't spiked. It was just regular eggnog.
But still.
But we were drunk.
Yeah, I was going to say, you probably had drink alcohol in your system and in your stomach.
And then afterwards, Sheeky made a joke that he had spiked it with like stuff to give you diarrhea. And I'm like, no, you didn't. He was just messing with me. But I'm like, that would have sucked because I drank a lot of it.
And so that put you off eggnog for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's one of those things where, like, a lot of people, when they get really hammered on a type of alcohol, they'll sometimes never drink it again.
Yes.
That hasn't been the case for me, but with this, definitely. I'm like, I don't need to have, because it's so thick and just.
Yeah, the viscosity is very off-putting to me.
Yeah, and so now it does not have any, I haven't had any eggnog since.
Did you, before that, enjoy eggnog, or could you take it or leave it? Did you look forward to it in the holiday season?
It was a holiday thing for sure.
Okay, so it was something you partook in and you look forward to, but now never again.
Yeah, he ruined my life that night.
Well, he ruined eggnog for you. I'm not sure he ruined your life, per se.
Yeah, I love him.
But there are a lot of people that I know that really do enjoy eggnog. I am also, but I have never enjoyed eggnog. It was never something that I enjoyed. I tried it when I was a kid, and then I tried it again as an adult because our tastes do change. And some things we don't like when we're children, we do like when we're adults. But no, that was one of those things that I was right about. And eggnog is just something that I don't think I'll ever understand. There's lots of better ways, at least in my opinion, for you to get hammered if you want to get hammered. And then it's just not an enjoyable beverage. But hey, to each their own. I just thought it was interesting how polarizing it is. And it reminded me very much of candy corn along those lines. Where just people like love it or absolutely hate it and think it's terrible and doesn't belong. And I'm one of those.
So I guess there's probably one for every holiday. Right?
I think, you know what's funny
For me, Thanksgiving is turkey.
I was just going to say the same thing. I think turkey is turning into it. Like, there are a lot of people out there that say, you got to have it, have to do it. And then, like me, I'm like, man, turkey is just meh to me. I don't really like it that much. I certainly don't need, Big J, if I told you the amount of turkey I have in my freezer right now,
I've got one turkey. I've got one turkey in our freezer. I should probably try to hide that while the wife's out of town.
And so, like, I think I've had enough turkey to last a lifetime. I don't think I want to partake in turkey anymore when it comes to Thanksgiving.
I put in the early request for ham for Christmas dinner.
Yes. Well, Christmas ham makes sense. I'll have ham any day of the week. There's no such thing as too much ham as far as I'm concerned. But, I'm trying to think of what it is at Easter. I guess maybe it would be Peeps or, some sort of, like, Cadbury eggs is another thing that a lot of people love that I don't think is very good either.
Yeah, no, that's.
But I don't know if they're as popular as they once were when we were kids. There's just so many things out there now. But, there's a lot of things that are polarizing in the holiday season, but eggnog certainly tops that list. Enjoy your eggnog, ladies and gentlemen. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Well, Big J's wife didn't see Big J this weekend, but that doesn't mean we can't get a weekend grade. That's next on the X Rocks. Was here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J, and unfortunately, Kylie was traveling this weekend. Big J's wife out of town, so they didn't even see each other all weekend long. So we cannot get an official Big J grade from his wife because she wasn't even in his company all weekend, which means, Big J, what did you do when left to your own devices?
Yeah, well, some of it, unfortunately, a lot of it was outside the cold. But I had the chance to continue getting educated. So let me explain here. In 2024, I kind of had a goal. I was like, I need to get back out there more. I mean, it's been 4 years since COVID. And, that really, I think, and I'm not the only one, where socially that really hurt us a lot. And it was kind of tough to re-engage and get out there and do stuff. And you need that kind of contact. And while concerts come back, and I've been to a bunch of concerts, it's not exactly great socializing sometimes. I don't want to talk to somebody while the band. You can't
hear them anyway.
You can't. It's not the same. So I just, wanted to get out and do more things. And that's why it was really important for me to do the Learn to Ride with High Desert Harley Davidson. It's a community of people, and that was great. Just taking that class alone, you're hanging out with people, you're commiserating, those kind of things. That stuff is important. And it was great education, obviously, as well, and didn't intend to, but wanted to kind of continue doing that. And so yesterday I spent most of my day in a enhanced concealed weapons permit class. Nick, our friend Dane, he has a company called Treasure Valley Shooting Academy, and it's a great thing. And so that was phenomenal because you're getting to commiserate with other people again. You go out and do stuff, but it also got me thinking, like, man, this is the thing that I haven't been really doing, and that's, trying to make myself better, educating myself on a lot of things like that. And, one of the things that I found interesting while I was taking this class is that there was a lot of similarities between the Learn to Ride class and doing this, and that is, being aware of what's going on around you and situational awareness. Those sort of things are really important. Getting your head out of your phone. And even when we're out in public, Nick, sometimes we're always on our phone, whether at a restaurant or whatever. You're not really paying attention to what's happening around you. And this isn't about a thing about being macho or gun-ho or any of that kind of stuff. And same with riding a motorcycle. That's where you got to be present when you're on a motorcycle if you want to stay safe. And I think those are some important things. So what I learned yesterday through all this is that I want to continue this educational process. And like we were joking around not that long ago about CP being CPR certified.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's something I need to do. So in 25, I want to take a course and do that. And this academy also is going to be offering some first aid courses and things like that. And I want to do that just to help myself, give me some other skills that I don't have. But at the same time, it gets you out there and has you socializing with people, new people that you didn't know before.
You made some new friends this weekend?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you exchange numbers?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
It's not, hey, you're cool, man. I just met you. It's,
Well, listen, it's the modern day. I'm trying to figure out how Big J makes friends.
I'm sure well run into each other in another class or something, maybe.
All right. So these are people that you might run into again, but if you don't, then
sure.
It doesn't break your heart.
Yeah. That's the thing. And you're just getting, this is one of the things where you're in a classroom and you're learning things and you don't get a chance to really get to know somebody, though we had a little bit of time to do that. But I highly recommend, you get out and try something new that you haven't done before. And see what happens, and you could come away with it and being enlightened.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's nothing wrong with wanting to better yourself in some way, shape, or form. We talk about it a lot. I mean, it's another thing that is good for your mental health. It's not just, therapy is one way to better yourself. There's no doubt about it, but there are so many other. Sometimes it's taking a hike and just getting out into nature. Sometimes it's being out in the elements. Sometimes it's, trying to decide there's something about, you that you would like to make better, be it a class or be it something that you've always wanted to do and you haven't had a chance to do. There's lots of different ways that you can, better yourself. And whatever way that is, it's a positive thing and you take it as such. And so congratulations, man. I'm glad that you want to do some new things.
Maybe, but I'm not going to make you promises, but in 2025, I'll start reading books, Nick, that aren't fiction.
Well, listen, we'll see. One step at a time. Baby steps.
Baby Be like steps. A mini Nick over here. If I read 2 books. It's a small version of what you do, my friend.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. I like to read. I think it's fun and relaxing. There's your Big J weekend update. So, Big J, far be it for me to assume, but would you give your own self an A for this weekend?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would give myself an A.
All right.
For sure. I was a busy boy.
Could be the only time you get an A for the weekend grade, but you got to take what you can get, my friend. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Important stuff next on the X.
On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Big J, yes, it is holiday season. Yes, it is Christmas time. But if you're single, Big J, it is time to get it on. Do you understand me?
Get it on!
They did a survey of 20,000 single Americans and found that about 33% of them plan somehow, some way, I'm going to get lucky over the holiday season.
Ooh.
Now, here's where it gets weird. Half of those say, if I'm visiting home this particular holiday season, I'm going to get it on in my childhood home.
What? That's weird, man.
Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
What difference does it make?
like just setting
Should
that
be
as
happy
a
you're
goal,
getting any at all.
setting that as a goal is a weird thing. I bounced around too much to ever get it on in my childhood home, but is that something that ever you crossed off the Big J list?
I don't know, because I also had a couple different homes. So,
Yeah. Hard
like,
for me to go.
what are we talking about? Like, because here's the thing. Like, a lot of people, I guess maybe our age, okay, they grew up in a single home,
Yes.
right? Like one place where you live.
Yes.
And I don't think that's the case anymore for most people.
Correct.
Like, and even, I mean, the home I grew up in for the most part until I was 12, we moved away from in Montana. Then I was here in a house for a brief period of time, then an apartment, and then a house again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a lot of trying to break into people's houses.
I bounced around a lot as well. And even like, even though like maybe you left your parents behind and they're still in the house that you graduated high school from or whatever, they may not be there anymore. That's the case with me. Like everything bounced around too much to ever hook up in my childhood home. And again, I don't know what, I mean, is it the childhood home, the one that you like went to elementary school with? Is the one you graduated high school in? Is it the one you went to middle school? I don't know. But for some people that stayed in the same house their entire life, that would be their childhood home, I would imagine. Yeah. But still, I mean,
rare these days.
A weird goal to have. 1 in 7 say, you know what? I just want to hook up with somebody. I just want to feel those feelings.
Choosers, man.
Apparently, New Year's Day and New Year's Eve is the best day of the season for actually getting lucky. When it comes to love lessons learned, respondents suggest letting things like going at their own pace, going with your gut, and avoiding partners who can't stop talking about their exes. These are things that they want to avoid, according to the survey. So something to keep in mind for the holiday season if you're single and desperate to get some. These are the things you want to look for. Even in my single days, Big J, I don't know if I ever went out with like a clear intention, like tonight's the night. I'm going to this place.
Yeah?
Oh
man, New Year's Eve was the night.
Yeah,
like,
I never had that
something was
kind
going
of
to happen that night.
Really?
Yeah.
And did it? I mean, was that the
Yeah.
case? Okay. Well, good for you, man. Good for you. I never had that particular, like, I guess, set my sights on that kind of stuff. Lessons learned. Big J, your Boise State Broncos are going to be the number 3 seed in the college football playoffs, and we'll get a first-round bye. They're going to play the winner of the Penn State SMU game in the Fiesta Bowl on December 31st. That'll be the 4th time Boise State has played in the Fiesta Bowl. Big J, they're 3-0 in that particular venue, in that particular title.
We've been
so far.
Well, we've been to 2 of them, once together.
Once separately, yes, before we knew we were going to be an item. Yes.
One of them we were out on the field, man. You almost got douche right next to Coach Pete.
No, Coach Harson.
Oh.
I did get douched in
Oh,
Gatorade.
that's
That
right.
was supposed to be for Coach Harson. Yeah, I was sticky all
Yeah.
night because of that Fiesta Bowl victory.
Yeah.
I just was in the wrong place in the wrong time and just got completely
No, it was the right place, man.
covered. No, I didn't feel like the right place at the right time when I was walking around all sticky and covered in Gatorade for 3 hours. I'll tell you that. But it was a fun time and certainly something we won't forget. We had a good time at the Fiesta Bowl and had a chance to go out there and cover the Broncos in their victory over TCU. Back, Big J, when Kellen Moore was the quarterback of the team, remember?
Yeah.
Remember our fun interview with Kellen Moore at the Fiesta Bowl?
No.
Exactly, because it lasted about 3 seconds. Kellen Moore, God bless him, has the personality of a paper towel, so it was tough to talk to out there. He was very well prepared for the media, I guess is my point. He did not have any interest in any of our fun questions, I'll put it that way.
Now, I don't know about you, but I'm feeling this right. I'm missing nostalgia, and I feel like, man, what a bummer we're not covering this.
I suppose we could if you wanted to.
No, because you have plans. You
that's
can't-
right. Yeah, no,
but,
I
But
can't.
at the same time, here's the thing. I think a lot's changed here in particular. And, there were a lot of people that would interact with us when I went there for the Fiesta Bowl. It was for a particular reason because we had a TV station with us and it was all, hands on board. Things have changed now. We can't even get people to get sports questions right here. So I don't know if it necessarily makes the most sense for us.
Well, also, I think, there will not be as much lead up to this game as there was to the Fiesta Bowl. There was a lot of build up to it, a lot of
it was
stuff.
a regular championship football game, pretty
Right.
much.
This the team is going to have less than a week to prepare, so a lot less pomp and circumstance and a lot more getting down to business, I think, for this particular one. So it will be different. The other thing I wanted to talk about that happened on Friday, Big J, was they won the Mountain West Championship, and a lot of pearl clutching about the goalpost getting ripped down, Big J, at Bronco Stadium. So much so that the athletic director had to say, hey, it's cool. We wanted to make it easy to tear down.
Even after that.
I know.
And I was like, listen, it's better that than them burning down the city.
It is, but it's...
Right? And who decided, hey, let's take this to the river?
I don't know. That was an interesting call.
I mean, those things aren't light. So everybody had to be on the same page. Who was the leader of that pack?
I don't know. Somebody should sign him up to do
Stand
something,
up.
though. But
Come on, you got an open invitation.
it is interesting to me. Again, maybe it kind of shows how fair weather some of the fans are. If there are some people that feel like they've never seen goalposts get ripped down before, and I'm like, this is a college football tradition that has happened for decades in this sport, and weird that you're now just seeing it and thinking it's a Boise State thing or something that they wanted to do or it was their idea or whatever. It's like, this is just a tradition, I think, when you win big games, and it doesn't get much bigger than the one they won on Friday.
Yeah, I was there the last time the goalpost almost came down, back in 1994 when we beat University of Idaho, finally breaking that streak of consecutive wins. That was when they were in WAC championship era, and so that was a big deal. Everybody rushed the field, and similar situation, but we couldn't drag that thing down.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much so, they've made it easier for these things to come down so that people don't get hurt trying to get them down, because that's the other thing. People have been injured before trying to get these things down, so now they make them a little bit more collapsible and easier if fans decide to do something like that.
But it is still, let's take it to the river.
It is a weird
Let's
call.
take it to the Boise River, yeah.
But it went in there. It was there.
I haven't talked to my sister, my brother-in-law. I think we're at the game. I wonder if they help. I doubt it.
You know,
They're in
say,
their
you know,
60s.
you're supposed to say, I
They're
know
in
your
their-
sister.
They're in their 60s.
Do you think they're storming the field and rolling out to the Boise River?
They might
with the
storm
goalpost? You
the
think?
field, but
All right. You should ask them and see if
Yeah.
they stormed the field. I'm going to say they didn't, but I could be wrong. Big J, a pair of ruby slippers worn by Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz was sold at auction for $28 million, Big J. That's a lot of money. They were originally thinking they were going to bring in about $3 million. Now, these were the ones that were
recovered? They were stolen and recovered?
They were the stolen ones from the Judy Garland Museum. Terry Martin, who assumed that they contained real rubies because they had been insured for $1 million, stole them. The FBI recovered them in 2018. Martin was indicted for theft last year, ultimately leading to the staggering sale. The shoes were described as red silk heels adorned with hand-sequined rhinestones and bugles. Here's the thing. That's the other thing. They aren't actually, there's no rubies on these things at all. They're just literally glitter sequin shoes, but they're now worth almost $28 million, which is crazy. Crazy. Hang on to those actual movie props you have, Big J. I assure you, they may be worth money someday. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Hey, there's your important stuff. We have got to go to hell. It's next on the X.
Up. Oh man, we're going to hell.
Rotten hell, you worthless maggot.
The Morning After with Nick and Big J on 100.3 The X rocks.
Big J, going to take you back to Thanksgiving Day in Port St. Lucie, Florida for today's We're Going to Hell story.
This Thanksgiving Day?
Yes.
Fast, okay.
Big J, real quick, how did you celebrate your Thanksgiving Day? Take us back, will you?
Okay. Well, Wednesday I got home after work. And
just Thanksgiving Day.
Okay, I woke up and we put in a turkey into the oven.
Okay.
That kind of got things started.
Okay.
Watched football.
Great.
Had dinner.
Surrounded by family, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Had a good time, fairly low-key.
Very low-key, yeah.
Did you leave your house a lot?
No.
Okay. So suffice it to say, it was a pretty relaxing Thanksgiving Day.
Very, yes.
At any point, Big J, did you leave your house, break into a school with a bunch of sex toys and methamphetamine, and celebrate your Thanksgiving Day that way?
That was not me.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, then, sorry, you've got nothing in common with 34-year-old Joe Urias, who did exactly that down in Florida.
Weird thing to do on Thanksgiving, right?
Police in Port St. Lucie got some calls that there looked like there was a dude inside of an elementary school with no clothes on whatsoever. And so they show up, and the man then quickly put his clothes on because clearly he was in a state of undress, Big J, and he tried to run away.
Sorry, I didn't see you there.
My apologies, officers. Let me just get some clothes on real quick. Officers then caught up to him, but of course had to physically restrain him when he decided to put up a fight because he didn't want to be arrested. That's when they found out he was 34-year-old Joe Urias. He was arrested for lewd and lascivious behavior. Here's where it gets weird, Big J. Are you ready?
Okay.
Joe is a school teacher at another school in the district, not the school that he broke into, but apparently he decided to break into the elementary school, got undressed, and then he started doing methamphetamine. Next thing you know, he had a variety of sex toys that he had broken out as well, and he was wearing and had a collection of women's underwear. Of course, this has led poor Joe to lose his job at the other school that he was teaching at because the school didn't want any connection with this particular mess, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, of course, it was Thanksgiving, so there were no students present or anybody there. It could have been even worse somehow had there been school in session at an elementary school. But apparently, Joe had been dealt with administratively, and they are working with police to make sure he is no longer allowed anywhere near any school, let alone the one he used to work at. And so that was how he celebrated his Thanksgiving. An interesting choice, I would say. I'm not sure where it went sideways on him, but I would say the planning from the word go was a really bad way to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Oops.
I mean, anytime your plan involves you breaking into a school, already we're off to a bad start. Then you factor in, once I'm in said school, all my clothes are coming off. That's the way this party's going to go.
Because it's what he's always wanted to do at his school.
Maybe.
Probably.
I dare not get into the psyche of Joe Urias, to be perfectly honest. It seems like a dark place and somewhere I don't want to go.
With a last name like that.
What's wrong with Urias?
I don't know. It seems rough.
In what way? What does it remind you of?
Urinals,
Okay.
urethras. I mean, the guy's had a terrible life, I'm sure. People making fun of his last name.
Okay. I mean, I didn't make the connection, but I guess you're right. Probably bullies would do exactly that. and make the connection between, even though it only really shares one letter with the words you said, it's enough for it to be enough of a trigger for him, I suppose. But I'm not sure if the bullying is what led him into methamphetamine, and then, of course, the things that follow after.
It's probably his first time. And that's why you never try it even once.
Big J has said, since the word go, not even once. Because, next thing you know, you're trying meth and you're breaking into a school and you're fully nude and you got sex toys all around you and you're fighting with cops. It's just a bad go. And that's how you celebrate Thanksgiving. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I
Drugs
don't see
are bad, kids.
Turkey in this story anywhere. Now, I know, Big J, if you were having your way, you'd invite you over to your house and you'd have to watch some football.
No, thank you.
And maybe talk about some decisions down the road, but it's going to be a while before he sees you.
He'd leave in a huff after I started making fun of his last name.
A meth huff. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There is your We're Going to Hell story. It is the X Rocks. Theory of a Dead Man RX here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. Big J, I'm sure, like Santa Claus himself, you are making a list and checking it twice of people that are naughty and nice across the United States of America. So it's no surprise that Wallet Hub has come around and put out their list of most sinful cities in America. Of course, you know Wallet Hub is the thing that exists so that morning shows across the country have something to talk about.
Yeah, thank you, Wallet Hub.
And so every year around this time, they release their study of most sinful cities in America. Now, they had a bunch of factors that went into it. They analyzed over 100 U.S. cities from top to bottom, and they used the number of indicators like sinful behavior, including excessive drinking, gambling rates, the number of adult entertainment venues per capita, and the amount of violent crime. And so I ask you out loud, Big J, what do you think is Wallet Hub's most sinful city in the United States of America?
Well, I don't know if it still, holds true. I'm going to say Sin City, Las Vegas.
Nailed it, dude. Las Vegas, number one with a bullet. Number one in greed, Big J. Number two in lust. Number 8 in jealousy. But number 90, believe it or not, in vices. So there's a lot worse places you can go. St. Louis, Missouri, the number one city for vices, weirdly enough.
What the hell are they doing there that's different than Vegas?
No idea, but that
put crack cocaine legal there?
Put them in the top 10 for most sinful cities in America. Dallas is 9, Miami is 8, Phoenix is 7, Denver 6, Philly 5, Atlanta 4, LA 3, Houston 2, Las Vegas 1. All of these, of course, very large metropolises here in the United States of America. So I believe population density probably plays a factor in all those things. But those are your top 10. Now, when it goes down to the least, of course, you are going to have places like Columbia, Maryland, Fremont, California, and Pearl City, Hawaii, along with Madison, Wisconsin, near the bottom. But Big J,
I would think Utah, anything in Utah.
Let me look. West Valley, Utah, 176, so not too far out of the bottom 5. So yeah, you're there. But it's like Salt Lake City is way up there, believe it or not, in the
Probably
top 90.
crime.
But I'll tell you what, you got to give it up to the old Idaho cities, because Boise ranks in at 166 on that list.
We
Not
can't
bad.
even make bets on sporting devices and things. So I mean, listen, there's no chance we're going to be sinful around here.
They won't let us be sinful in the state
and
of Idaho.
porn.
Nampa considered a little bit more sinful than Boise, though, coming in at 123 on the list. So if you're looking for a little bit more sinful activity, you want to head down to the 2C, Big J. But I don't think I have to tell you that as a 2C resident. You know what's up. So congratulations. For the most part, we are pretty respectful and unsinful. But some of us are bringing down the study a little bit, Big J. I don't mind pointing some fingers at you every once in a while.
All right.
But it's okay. I forgive you. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Coming up in a few minutes, some important stuff. We also have your Pop Culture Smackdown. It's on the way here on the X.
Important stuff.
What's going on in the news today?
The Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Big J, it's probably not much of a stretch to know that some people equate stress with stuffing their mouth with food that's bad for them, right?
If stuffing your food in general due to stress is bad.
And anytime you have a lot of high-fat foods in your system, it's not good for your body or anything else. And so If you find yourself doing that, especially during the holiday season, strangely enough, the University of Birmingham says that there's one thing that could actually help you that maybe you weren't thinking about. Drinking some hot cocoa. Because hot cocoa is high in something called flavonols, and that could help reduce the impact of fatty foods. Flavonols help counteract the negative impact of fatty foods. They also protect your body's blood vessels. And when people are stressed, they tend to gravitate towards high-fat foods, especially during the holiday time. So they wanted to see if adding a high flavanol food to the fatty meal would alleviate the negative impact of stress in the body, and it turns out, Big J, it totally does.
Oh, wow.
And
Flavanol.
so
Flavanol.
something to enjoy. Now, hot cocoa isn't the only thing that has high flavanol. You also get an option for the green tea, the black tea, eating a couple of berries, Big J, or maybe chomping on an apple every once and again. And that will get you the same kind of effect that some hot cocoa could help you do without maybe the calories of hot cocoa, because there's some negative aspects to that as well. But maybe you want to go the tea route or the berry route or the apple route to help you kind of counteract your stress eating or the high-fat foods that you're eating around the holiday time.
Reminds me, we got to set up our hot cocoa bar there at the house. It's the holiday time.
You have a hot cocoa bar at the house for your residents.
For the holidays, yeah.
Nice. What is it?
We got one of those electronic tea kettles. Give the hot water hot, and then, an assortment of cocos and toppings and stuff, and nice Christmas mugs, Nick.
Okay.
So that whenever somebody wants to, or they come over, they want some hot cocoa, it's easy to make happen.
So the tea is the kettle's always warm and ready to go for some hot cocoa?
Yeah.
What are some of the toppings at the Big J house?
Marshmallows. That's it.
Etc. Got it. You know the rest.
I'm sure there's some other stuff that you can put in there.
You're not in charge of it?
Cheese.
Got it. Cheese. Hey, even though the New York Mets had the highest team payroll in Major League history, they're adding some more to it, Big J.
Some?
They found a few bucks to sign Juan Soto to a record-breaking 15-year, $765 million contract. That's not bad. Highest in baseball history, in fact, Big J. What would you do with that money?
I bring some rock concerts to town.
Oh, good luck.
Well, I mean, if I had that kind of money, I'd be able to.
That exceeds the $700 million contract that Shohei Ohtani signed about a year ago. So, once again,
It's not deferred, though, right? It's not deferred.
No. A reminder that if you have children, teach them to hit a baseball. That is where the money is, guys. Teach them to hit a baseball. Boise State is going to be the number 3 seed in the college football playoff. They'll get a first-round bye this after becoming victorious, Big J, against UNLV 21-7 in the Mountain West Championship on Friday. Final score prediction a little off, Big J. It was the under, but they did cover. You called that.
Yeah.
So, good job by the Broncos. They're going to play the winner of the Penn State SMU game in the Fiesta Bowl on December 31st. Ashton Genty needs like 137 yards or so to break Barry Sanders' record of all-time rushing yards in a season, which would be incredible. And he had a huge game, over 200 yards at the Mountain West Championship game against a UNLV team that had a top 10 rushing defense, Big J, so take that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but I know I saw a lot of social media about the Heisman, just people. Matt Leinart was down on the, on the BSU turf there watching the game, part of the Fox broadcast, and he was saying, hey, he should be the Heisman for the most part.
We will see. He's still considered an underdog according to Vegas, but that doesn't mean anything until the votes are in and tabulated and counted, and we will find out very soon if Ashton Genty will be the first ever Boise State player to win a Heisman Trophy. He'd get my vote, Big J, but they don't allow me in that kind of club.
They should.
Why?
You're a reasonable person. You're fair, and you take into the whole picture and not just your own personal bias on things.
That's sweet of you to say, but I am not a sports writer. And even when I was, Big J, did not have a vote for the Heisman Trophy, and that's okay. I'm all right with that. I don't need that particular type of stuff. I think it's like newspaper writers, really, that only have that kind of stuff these days.
There's newspapers now?
Yeah, it still is. They're still around.
One or two.
They're still a thing.
Who are the rest of these people?
I think they're all bloggers. Hey, Big J, you love PETA, and they want people to know that they are not happy with the new movie Nosferatu. It's coming out on Christmas. Robert Eggers is the gentleman that is putting it together, and they are protesting the use of live rats in that movie, criticizing the film because it perpetuates harmful stereotypes towards rats. PETA emphasizes that rats are intelligent and they're social creatures, and they should be respected, and even though they're creepy, they should be compared to cats and dogs. Of course, they're going to protest the big premiere. They're going to have a sign advocating for rat rights. And even though, despite the fact that the live rats were carefully managed during production and none were injured, they still don't like the fact that it was kind of, I guess, playing into that stereotype. Now, listen, you and I have talked about this. I know you have, they're your enemy. And PETA, I think, for a lot of things we can align on. I don't think any of us are for animal abuse or anything like that.
No,
so
it'll be
there's
ridiculous.
certainly something to it. But then there's a line where you're like, come on, we're just talking about rat stereotypes. I mean, there's some common sense that need to be involved in this particular thing. Maybe they're just looking for a battle to fight, and that's fine, I suppose.
Yeah, it's been quiet on the PETA front
But
lately.
what a weird thing to pick. I mean, if there were animals that were injured on the set, I can understand. But the fact that everybody was okay and they're just saying, hey, rats are creepy and they freak people out, I don't know why you would have a problem with that.
Might be time. They might need to fill their coffers a little bit, need some donations.
All right. Well, get your hat in your hand. Let's go.
Oh.
Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your important stuff. We got your Pop Culture Smackdown. It's next on the X.
Pop Culture Smackdown. On the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Yeah, some pop culture smackdown action here. We'll get you hooked up with something. How about tickets to Lounge at the End of the Universe? We love the Lounge. Always something happening there, whether it be comedy, art, or music. So we'll get you situated with that here. If you could beat me in Pop Culture Smackdown.
Great stand-up show there this weekend. If you want to go check it out VIP style, you certainly can. The good news is you can use these tickets whenever you want to. There is no date on them, so you can cash in your VIP tickets anytime you want to go see a show, comedy or otherwise. Just get on the phone to beat Big J, will you? 208-287-1003. You're going to have to know a little bit about pop culture today. Big J, I think I got a layup for you after question one. Then it's all downhill from there.
Yeah,
We'll
layups.
see how it goes. Who knows? The Shadow. Hello, the X.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, you're up first. We need to know which sport did the first widely available home video game replicate on the Atari? Was it pool, ping pong, or bowling?
Ooh. Bowling.
Bowling is wrong. Incorrect.
Might have been too young for that question.
Could be. Yeah, the Atari was the big key there. It's one of those things where maybe you don't know everything about it, but heck, you never know. Hello, the X. Good morning.
Morning.
Hi. We need to know which sport did the first widely available home video game replicate in the Atari video game system? Was it pool, was it ping pong, or was it bowling?
Ping pong.
Ping pong is correct.
Right.
That game, of course, called Pong. Pong. Big J, who directed the 1978 film Halloween?
John Carpenter.
Right.
Correct.
That was a layup.
Back to you. What kind of dog does Cruella de Vil want to covet in a Disney movie?
101 Dalmatians.
Right.
Correct. Big J, in what film did Steve Martin play the character Navin Johnson? Iconic film.
The Jerk.
That is correct.
Right.
Back to you. What American landmark was actually paid for and given to us by the French? Was it Mount Rushmore, the Statue of Liberty, or the Washington Monument?
Statue of Liberty.
Correct.
Right.
Big J, in the film Home Alone, where was the Christmas vacation supposed to be held?
In Paris.
That is correct.
Right.
Carol Burnett was known for tugging what part of her body at the end of her TV show? Her hair, her nose, or her ear?
Her ear.
That is correct.
Right.
Big J, who played the role of Samantha Jones on Sex and the City?
Sarah Jessica Parker.
That is incorrect.
Wrong.
I'm
Kim
sorry.
Cattrall.
That is correct. Kim Cattrall
Right.
was Samantha in the...
Samantha.
Good job, Big J, but just stumbled there at the end. Congratulations. VIP Lounge at the End of the Universe passes are yours. Hang on just 1 second. We will make sure that you are set and good to go there. That's your Pop Culture Smackdown. Nice little back and forth today. We got ourselves some headlines next on the X.
News you can barely use. It's headlines on the Morning After with Nick and Big J.
Proudly present to you the following headlines, Big J. Wrong place, wrong time. He's a keeper, or nice win, bro.
Nice win, bro.
Nigel Richards, Big J. This man does not speak a lick of Spanish. Why does that matter to you?
I don't know.
Because he recently won the 2024 Spanish Language Scrabble World Championship.
Wow.
Now, this is not the first time he's done this either. In 2015, this same dude won the French Language Scrabble World Championship despite not knowing a word of French. Richards has been even dubbed the Tiger Woods of Scrabble. The champion who won the title in Granada, Spain, says he simply just memorizes a bunch of words without learning their actual meaning. And according to people that have seen him play, apparently he can like look at a page of words and then just like photograph it in his mind, and it sticks there, and he remembers how to spell them all and the way they all work, but not what they not what they mean or anything. So he doesn't like actually understand what he's using or what the words are. He just knows that's a word and I can use it in Scrabble, and he's won world championships.
So wouldn't having a photographic memory be cheating in Scrabble then?
I don't know how you would consider that cheating. I mean,
well, it's an unfair advantage.
Well, could it be having a photograph memory certainly be cheating in any other kind of thing as well?
In a competition, sure.
Yeah, but there's lots of people that have photographic memories that don't do well in competitions. I think it just depends on how you use those particular things. Any particular point, your memory is going to be an advantageous kind of thing in any competition, no matter what it may be. Whether it's football, basketball, or any kind of word-based gameplay, I think. So, I mean, just because you have a photographic memory doesn't mean you can do this. Now, keep that in mind as well.
True.
Just because you can remember things really well doesn't mean you can look at a page of French words and then memorize all of them instantly and be able to play and win a world-level competition. But it's impressive nonetheless. Wrong place, wrong time, or he's a keeper?
He's a keeper.
Hey, would you save your partner from a bear attack, Big J?
Well, yeah.
I would hope so. On Tuesday of last week in Canada's Fort Severn First Nation, a man jumped on a polar bear who was about to attack his wife. The woman apparently slipped and fell to the ground, and her husband then leapt onto the animal, according to the police service post on Facebook. The bear then attacked the male, causing serious but non-life-threatening injuries to his arms and his legs. Apparently, polar bears usually do not attack human beings, but if one does, you're not supposed to play dead. That's a myth. Fight as long and as hard as you can if a bear attacks you. The man is expected to survive, and guess what? His wife completely unharmed. So he certainly took one for the team there.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
The way it should be.
That's right. You got to make sure that that bear doesn't hurt any part of somebody you love, and make sure that you take the brunt of that bear damage, right?
Yeah.
I'm guessing he made it out, luckily. Although I'm just trying to figure out how one would come across a polar bear in random kind of acts of service.
It seems like you would be in a pretty, just hostile environment.
I mean, it's Canada, so God knows what was going on.
Yeah.
There could be some wild parts of Canada that has that kind of stuff, and one would stumble upon it. But stay out of their way, I guess, is the other surefire way never to be attacked by a bear. Hard to do when you're on your couch, right, Big J?
Yeah. It really is.
Wrap it up with wrong place, wrong time. An employee at a Walmart in Virginia caught a shoplifter trying to conceal items. The thief thought he would be able to calmly walk out of the store with his stolen loot, but what he didn't account for, Big J, is this particular Walmart on this particular day was holding its annual Shop with a Cop event, and the store was absolutely packed with police officers. And so a member of the staff at
Is this Walmart in Nampa on Saturday morning?
Came out to the police officer and said, hey, I got a shoplifting in progress right now. And between the sheriff's department and the police officers, there were about 50 uniformed personnel at the store able to handle the case. The man then tried to make a break forward through the back door, but never stood a chance. Police arrested the 32-year-old suspect pretty quickly. The Shop with a Cop event, of course, is an annual holiday tradition where police officers help pick kids up some presents. And you saw that in person on Sunday, right,
Yeah.
BJ? So, terrible time to steal something from a place when there's a bunch of police officers there. So this dude learned the hard way.
How about don't steal?
Yeah, great list. Morning After with Nick and Big J. There's your headlines. You're up to date on everything. It is the X Rocks. That is Bad Flower. That is Detroit here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. And we've got a Netflix update, Big J.
Yeah, Netflix has been ordered by an Indiana judge to pay $385,000 to Lori Kennard, a woman outed as a child of fertility doctor Donald Klein in the documentary Our Father. Two other plaintiffs sued, but only Kennard was awarded the money, as the other two were part of a Facebook group and were I guess, acknowledging that their name was in this thing, and that was okay to some degree. Kennard was not in that. She was said she was suffering some mental anguish over the whole thing, and they made a boo-boo by putting her name up there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a god-awful story of a fertility doctor that took advantage of some patients and did terrible things while they visited his practice. And I mean, of course, and a lot of things came out of that. And Netflix is riding this true crime wave that sometimes means they don't always take as much caution as maybe they should when they're pumping out some of this stuff. And they made some serious mistakes in putting this whole thing out. And some people really don't want their lives ruined by having their name mentioned in a documentary on the biggest streaming service in the world, believe it or not. And that's going to cause some things. But my guess is, even though it's a lot of money, she'd probably rather have her anonymity back than instead of $500,000, you know?
Instead of us yapping about it on a radio station in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, there's no win here. It's just a terrible kind of situation and a terrible story revolving around a terrible documentary that documents a terrible time in a lot of women's lives. But this is what puts eyeballs on things, and it's a weird kind of reflection of our society, Big J. We're so thirsty for this stuff that at the end of the day, we don't really care what lives we bulldoze in order to get that story told. Again, it's one of those things where, like, when you're watching the true crime documentary, you get fascinated by these things, but there are victims involved in these particular stories and victims' families that are still dealing with the trauma that's involved in this, but we are using it and consuming it for our entertainment, and there's some real psychiatric things that could be investigated there, I think.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the way that this stuff is presented as well, what you're getting out of it, for sure. And this $395,000, probably a drop the bucket to what Netflix maybe made from the documentary to begin with.
Who knows? I didn't hear about the documentary until I saw this story, but that's not exactly in my algorithm. So, I mean, it's a different kind of thing for different people. But I don't know how many people signed up for Netflix to watch this documentary, but at the end of the day, maybe it will help teach a lesson that you got to make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's when it comes to these documentaries, because there are real people and real lives at stake in some of this stuff. And we forget that a lot of times because, again, we're using it for our entertainment and we're turning it on in the background and then just using it to go, oh, my God, I can't believe this happened. It is a terrible story. But, yeah, there are actual lives that are affected by these stories that we hear and that we watch. But that's not important to us, Big J, as long as we get those clicks in and we watch, you know?
Well, I guess.
That's what matters to Netflix and to us. And that's the... Like, I mean, there was a stretch there that I was watching a lot of true crime. I've gotten out of it recently, and I feel like I'm in a better place mentally because of it. Because I don't really, you know, sometimes I would let those things, like, I would go, oh my God, I can't believe those things happen, and then I would start thinking about it, and it'd be a real bummer and awful. And these things really did happen to people. It's called true crime for a reason, and it's while fascinating and interesting, and there's no doubt, I still feel like it's really, really dark and weird to be using it for entertainment sometimes. But that's just me, bro. You keep watching your true crime shows.
The fictional stuff on it is okay, though.
Well, it depends. I mean, yeah.
Because, I mean, most of the fiction stuff we have is based off a real story.
Sure.
In some way or another.
I understand. But, again, these aren't real lives that are being affected by the stories that are being told in fictional programs. Whereas in non-fictional programs and documentaries, these are real stories of real terrible things that happen to people. And again, not just the victims, but the families that have to relive this trauma by their stories being told by entertainment. It's a fascinating mirror held up to society, I think. Morning After with Nick and Big J. We got your bad impressions. They're next on the X Rocks.
Lose your car after with Nick and Big J.
Yeah, we're going to hook you up with some tickets to Lounge at the End of the Universe. VIP style. You can use these whenever you want for whatever show. Brad Upton is coming here this weekend. Should be real fun. Then they've got the Eternal Arts Bazaar happening as well on the 15th. Just different things happening at the Lounge. So these will come in real handy if you want to have some fun. And all you need to do to get them for free is figure out bad impressions. Should be pretty easy today.
208-287-1003 if you'd like these VIP tickets to the Lounge at the End of the Universe for you to use whenever, wherever you want. Our buddy Gabriel Rutledge is coming back, too, in the new year there to the Lounge at the End of the Universe. So funny. So, however you want them is up to you. When you want to turn them in, it's up to you as well. You just have to figure out Big J's bad impressions. He'll give you 3 clues. You got to figure out the famous person he's trying to be to score these. Good luck to everybody. Hello, the X.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. What's your name?
Zach.
All right, Zach, you're up first. Good luck.
I had to beg Hugh Jackman to come back so I could dig up Logan's bones in a movie. Worth it.
Okay.
I'm Marvel Jesus now.
What's the other one? I think I got it.
I like chimichangas and giving maximum effort.
Is it Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, sure, I'll take Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
or Deadpool.
Big J didn't stipulate it was a fictional character like he normally does. So absolutely, Ryan Reynolds is acceptable. Good job, Zach. Hang on 1 second. We'll hook you up with those tickets to go check out the Lounge at the End of the Universe VIP style. Why is Deadpool in the news?
Nick, damn it, the Golden Globes are out, and I am upset.
Sorry.
Hugh Jackman, I just feel like some of his monologues in this movie were some of his best. I felt were worthy of getting a nomination in a serious type of situation, and that did not happen. The movie Deadpool Wolverine did get a nomination for the new Cinematic and Box Office Achievement Award, Nick, joining Alien Romulus. Pretty much all the movies we did earlier in the year for the morning after the movies. Beetlejuice, Deadpool, Wolverine, Gladiator 2 made it in there. Twisters, Wicked, The Wild Robot, Inside Out 2, all of those movies. But as far as the other nominations, didn't get a sniff.
Yeah, I don't know how hard they were pressing for him, of course, and that's part of the game. But you look at some of the movies that got nominated and the performances that got nominated, and I guess maybe that's why they decided not to take a run at it. It's going to turn into like Wicked and Dune are going to run away with all these things, and Inside Out's going to win all the animated stuff. It's the way the way the cookie's crumbling, I think, is how it's all going to play out that way. But still, I have not seen Wicked yet. I think it's on my plan of things to do. I would like to do that fairly soon. I do want to see it because I think it's going to be pretty good. So I have high expectations for it, and I'd like to see it do well. Listen, it's continuing to print money, so it's got to be doing something right. And so, yeah.
We were talking about this, several movies on the actual drama and comedy musical landed. Some movies that I reviewed for Streaming Dumbass on there as well.
Which ones?
Challengers, Amelia Perez, and what was the other one?
Dune 2.
Dune 2, yeah, Dune 2. But those were just a few of them, and I was like, "Oh, look at that!"
And those were all movies that Big J enjoyed as well. So he's got something.
I don't know if I
enjoyed
enjoyed Amelia Perez as much as I proved it because it's a good movie.
There you go. That's the thing. It's in Challengers. You enjoyed all the way around, right?
I did, though. I felt like a lot of that had to do with the music. I didn't even know that at the moment when I was watching the movie, though it did kind of sound familiar. 9 Inch Nails' Atticus Ross getting a nomination for that soundtrack as well.
There you go. So. Golden Globes will air in February, but it will be absent of Deadpool and Wolverine from the nominations, save the one that it got nominated for. Morning After with Nick and Big J. Hey, we'll wrap up the show here next on the X Rocks Society That Is Hurt here on the Morning After with Nick and Big J. That wraps up this Monday show. Thanks for hanging out with us. We had a chance to give away some VIP tickets to Lounge at the End of the Universe. Big J went a good run for a little thing called Pop Culture Smackdown today. We'll see if that can continue tomorrow. We also had a chance to have Big J grade himself for this weekend, giving himself an A, so you can take that for what it's worth. But listen, man, if we aren't our own biggest fans, then what are we doing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So congratulations on your self-deserved A this weekend. Hopefully it was a good one for everybody else as well. That leaves you with the floor, sir.
Yeah, big announcement today. Unfortunately, not for the Treasure Valley, but System of a Down returning for 3 massive shows. And featuring the Deftones, Avenged Sevenfold, and Korn in different places. They're going to be playing MetLife Stadium, Soldier Field in Chicago, and Rogers Stadium in Toronto, Ontario. So, hey, if you haven't had a chance to see System of a Down, every now and then you're like, this might be my last chance. Yeah, it could be. They're real good.
Man, one of my favorite concerts I've ever seen, System of a Down. Absolutely had such a great time. That was the one where I think I told you and I shared the Mars Volta opened up for him, and I was like, oh no. Oh
yeah.
No. Now, I know the Mars Volta has a lot of fans out there, but boy, they just were not my vibe. And when I saw them, I was like, Mayday, this cannot be over soon enough. But then System of a Down took over, and I was like, now we're cooking with grease. Here we go. It is a great show, and to see them live is something not to be missed. And unfortunately, yeah, they're doing these things kind of sporadically. You have to travel to see them, but it is worth the money if you want to do it that way.
Oh, yeah.
Next set of X-Rock brought to you by our friends at T Mazda and the Pre-Owned Superstore. If you're looking for a new or used vehicle, and we recommend those guys over at T Mazda and the Pre-Owned Superstore. As a matter of fact, check out their website, gotmazda.com. You can actually use their iPrecheck button there and see what you're pre-qualified for before you even step foot on the lot. It's a wonderful tool if you're looking for a vehicle of any kind, and it's available for you at gotmazda.com. That's it for us. We will see you tomorrow. Jason Drew's up next. Have a good one. It's the X Rocks.
His paternal